Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever episode of Sportscast. Today we're going to be covering the top 10 Big Ten quarterbacks. There are three that have left for the NFL since last year: Nate Stanley of Iowa, Ryan Lewerke of Michigan State, and Shea Patterson of Michigan. Number 10 on the list is Spencer Peters of Iowa. He's had a couple years to learn from Nate Stanley there. He hasn't done much, only 6 for 10 for 25 yards last year. But they're not going to ask him to do much in Iowa because they are mostly running in defense there. It is good that he has had time to learn the system, though. Taking up number 9 on the list, we have Brandon Peters. He transferred from Michigan the year before he was in Illinois. He's not really a runner, but he can when he needs to. He surprised a lot of people, and he was a big part of Illinois' success last year. Next up, we have Dylan McCaffrey of Michigan. It could be Joe Milton, whoever wins the starting job there. I went Dylan McCaffrey because of his experience, but a lot of people do have Joe Milton starting. He hasn't done a whole lot since coming to Michigan. He can run and has pretty good speed. He has the better legs, but Milton does have the better arm, so it'll be a tough race there. Next up, we have Peyton Ramsey. He's the transfer from Indiana. He was not a starter in Indiana, but then the starter did get hurt, so he became the number one guy there. But he decided he wasn't going to sit back anymore waiting for his time, so he transferred to Northwestern. He does have to beat Hunter Johnson to get the job, who is a very good quarterback, but I think that Ramsey can pull it out. All right, next up we have Michael Penix Jr., the quarterback at Indiana. The reason he is ahead of Ramsey is because he kept beating him out. He has had injury problems. Indiana will be a team to watch out for. They're not going to win the Big Ten, but I do believe that they can make some noise, and he will also be a big part of that. Next on the list is Nebraska quarterback Adrian Martinez. The reason he is this low is because of injury problems. His numbers definitely went down drastically last year. They were similar on the ground, but in the air they went down. As a team, Nebraska was a big disappointment last year. I mean, he has the talent, he has the program, and he has the coach. Now he's just got to turn that into some wins. Next up on the list, we have Sean Clifford. He is very good on the ground. He's gutsy. He reminds me a lot of Burrow. I don't think he's leading Penn State to a national title, 14-0 season anytime soon, but he is tough. He stands in and makes throws. He had similar numbers to Burrow in his junior year, so that's really the only comparison we have. But I don't think he's leading to Penn State to a title anytime soon. Next up, we have Jack Cohen. Now, as a Minnesota fan, not a big fan of him, but gotta respect what he's done. With Jonathan Taylor helping him, that was a big part of his success last season because they had to blitz to keep Jonathan Taylor contained. That leaves the deep ball open. He will have to produce a little more, though, and I think his numbers could go up. He's really efficient, only 5 interceptions, 70% completion percentage, 18 touchdowns, and a really good pass rating at 151.8. Taking up the number 2 spot on the list is Tanner Morgan. He was not going to be the starter, but because of injury, he became the starter. A really good pass rating, 178.7. Threw for 30 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions, very efficient, 66% completion percentage. He's not great on the ground, but he was a big part of Minnesota's success. But it was not just him. The D and O-line were very good. He had good receivers, good running backs, good tight ends. But he did step up. And I think that this year he could have similar or even better numbers. And at the number 1 spot, it's not even close. It's Justin Fields at Ohio State. He's phenomenal on the ground. He did have a little less ground game than I thought he would. There is that one injury that he had. Decision making is phenomenal. He blew me away. 3,200 yards, 41 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. And just without the experience that he had, he performed phenomenally. And I think you can make a pretty good argument for a Heisman this year. There were a couple quarterbacks left off the list. For one, Josh Jackson of Maryland. He has potential, but I just didn't see the production I would like for him to get that number 10 spot. Then whoever wins a starting job in Purdue, there's a lot of talent around them, and they could put up big numbers. The number 10 spot was definitely up for grabs. I went with Iowa because of its program consistency. This is just my best guess of what will happen this year. Feel free to comment below what you would change and put your top 10 on there. See you next time on the cast.